Hi everyone, welcome back to Square Force, the channel where I show you how to make awesome paper planes that look like real-world aircraft and fly well too. So this that we're going to do today is one of my favorites. This is the F-11f BlackWave. This came up in a few comments in my F-11 family video as one that you'd like to see, so we're going to fold it today. This design, like many of the ones from my F-11 series, is actually inspired by the A-12 Avenger, also called sometimes the Flying Dorito, a Navy attack airplane that was actually canceled in the 90s and never flew. But it's a really cool design, and I think it deserves more attention. Some unique features of this one are, of course, the very streamlined, simple design on top, and then these curved, sort of widened sections of the back trailing edge of the wing here. I call this kind of a hollow wing design. It is one way to increase the stability of inherently unstable paper airplanes. Now, of course, that comes with some trade-offs, like increased drag. So for this model, this is definitely not going to be a distance champion. It flies across a room just fine. It'll probably fly across a whole house. But once you take that outside, it's probably not going to go very far out in a field or anything like that. But in my opinion, it's worth it for this cool design. So this one I'm pretty proud of. I hope that you enjoy it. Let's get started taking a look at how the BlackWave flies, and then we'll learn how to fold it. Okay, our first step to folding the BlackWave is pretty simple. We are going to fold the paper in half horizontally, right down the middle. Line your corners up there so everything looks good. Then we're going to take these corners and fold them down here to the center line. I always back off the center line just a touch because we are going to eventually be folding this in on itself, and I don't want those layers to interfere with each other. We'll flip it over, do the exact same fold on the other side here. And then we're going to take it a step further. We're going to take this edge and fold it down once again to that center line here to create this sort of classic dagger shape that you've seen from a lot of paper airplanes. And again, I'm just leaving that fold slightly off the center crease to help once we fold it all together. Repeat the fold on the other side, and I use these little triangles in the back right here to match them up and just make sure that my wings are going to be an even size there, equal on both halves. This plane can get a little touchy to adjust, so it's good to go very precise in the beginning and make sure that your wings are the same size. Okay, now we're ready to open up our paper. And we're going to take the tip here and fold it right to where these points intersect right down here in the back. So fold the arrow nose over, and your layers are going to bunch up a bit, so just smooth that down. We just need one crease here, and then we're going to unfold it. You want this point as a reference. Okay, now we are going to fold over, so now all those folded layers of paper are within the paper. We've got just one piece on either side. Then we're going to fold up from this corner to this point here where our reference crease that we just made intersects that line. So we start our fold there, bring it all the way back to the back corner. Flip it over and do the same fold on the other side, again from this crease mark to that back corner of the paper. Perfect. Now we're going to take the nose of the airplane here and we're going to fold it down. We're actually going to fold it right down that center line and we're going to go through this space here. So I actually just fold it right straight down here And my reference here is the crease point that we just made with our wings. So we fold it down through the center there, and we're actually going to bring that point back a little bit on that fold. My target here, and you can make it look however you want, this is really a stylistic choice, is a 90-degree angle here, more or less. I find that to be the most aesthetically pleasing, but you can of course make it however you want. The angle of the nose is not super important for this flight performance. Alright, now if you've watched any of the other F-11 videos, like the F-11D or the F-11e, I have a particular nose lock that I do on these planes. I decided to change it up a little bit with this version because I was getting kind of bored of how that looked. So let's try the alternate version here. We're going to make a fold starting at the nose and fold it up, but then match this edge of the paper with this edge right here. So we're just going to fold that up right along the nose there, crease it a little bit, and then we'll flip over the paper and do the same thing. We just want to get a little bit of memory into this paper for the location of that fold. Okay, now we are going to open up the front, pinch closed back here, and from that point right in there, where your newest crease point meets this back edge, you're going to fold down right from that point and squash fold it right up along the bottom edge of the airplane. Then you take this back all the way so it falls just like that. And if you've done this right, these points on the corners here of your squash fold should more or less match up with the edge of the nose of the airplane. Okay, now that you've checked that, next we put it out in a diamond shape like this and just stick our thumb in between these layers of paper, pull that apart, and we're going to fold it back down with now these additional layers of paper pulled out to the side. So we just fold it in just like that. And then, if you've done that correctly, you should have a hexagon shape. All right. So now we've already done almost all the work on this design. There's just a few more steps. To complete our nose lock, we're going to take this hexagon. We're actually going to fold it back upwards using these corners as our fold point. And you're also going to look inside and try to match your fold with that intersection there where those layers come together. It's not going to be a perfectly level fold, like straight across, so you have to push it down a little bit and create a slight angle. I found that it actually helps to fold the paper back together like this, just to crease those lines and make sure everything is in the right place. Okay, once you've done that, unfold it once again. We need that as a reference fold. And then fold it up again from this point here that you made with your earlier crease marks, not the bottom edge of the paper, but the point just over a fraction of an inch. We're going to fold it up along the body of the airplane. And then we want to bring this point a little closer back to the bottom edge. So to do that, we use the crease that we just made, we reinforce that crease line right here, and we just fold inwards. Let me get the other one out there too. There we go. We just bring this in, and we bring the paper back, and just fold it down right by the points that you just made in the last step. So it just overlaps on itself and goes back and falls along the body of the airplane. Okay, so that is the nose lock. Once we tuck those layers in, It's going to be a nice streamlined shape where you can grab a little keel here under the airplane, but it's nice and streamlined. Alright, so we're done with the nose lock, and we just have to complete the wings. You've probably been wondering when we're going to get to those curving wings on this airplane. So now is our chance. What we're going to do here first, to make a little reference point, we're going to fold this back triangle over. So this edge roughly falls along this edge. So we just fold it here, and we're actually going to go just a little bit past on purpose. We're not going to match it exactly, but we're just going to let that edge fall over just a touch farther. And we're going to, of course, match that on the other side. So this, you just want it to hang slightly over that edge of the wing. Doesn't matter exactly where you put it, but it shouldn't be too far over, and it shouldn't be exactly matching the edge either. Okay, now we are going to use our nose lock here, this top edge as a reference point, as well as this point that we just made where these layers intersect. We're actually going to take our thumb and put it in between the layers of paper. And you're going to make one crease, one fold, from where this part of the wing intersects right here with your nose lock all the way back to this corner. But you're only going to make that crease in this layer of paper. You're not going to make the crease in this layer of paper. So it's a little bit tricky. So how I do that is I just bend it a little bit, fold it over, and then I take my finger and thumb and just pinch right along where that crease is going to go, just like that. And you can see as I'm doing this, I'm actually leaving the top of the paper alone. I want that to have a smooth curve. Once that line is kind of reinforced there where I know the paper wants to fold in that location, I'll go ahead and bring the whole paper over, just roll it over, and I'll make a little tiny crease right here, and then I'll just follow that back with my finger all the way to the back point. But at no point during any of this am I applying any pressure to the top of the wing. I'm leaving that as a smooth curve. And I'll actually open it back up and just run my fingers along so I can make sure that there's no creases there. Because the whole design looks so interesting because there are no folds on that top edge. All right, so that wing looks pretty good. You can see the structure there. I usually bring up the bottom to curve in just a little bit more, but what you want is roughly that shape. And actually what this little triangle is for is we're actually going to fold that in. So we're going to reverse that over and fold it in. And because our edges don't match perfectly, it's actually going to bend up a little bit. You can see it bending in there, and that helps hold this open. It holds it just where you want it. You can crease it down, and the amount that you want that wing to fall open is probably about this much, maybe a touch more. That looks pretty good. Your trade-off here is your flight will be slower the more open the back edge of your wing is, but it will also be less stable. Your plane won't fly predictably. It may even nose over and fall straight to the ground. So you want some opening here, and that point you'll have to find for yourself. I find something like this is about where I like to put it. All right, now let's repeat that process on the other side. So again, we're using this as our reference, the top edge of this nose lock, all the way back to this point where our little triangle intersects there. And we just roll it over until we can start to build a crease. Use your thumb and your forefinger to pinch that, but only pinch this layer. Don't pinch the layer underneath it and crease there. Once you have something ready, start rolling that paper over and just crease that part. There we go. the wings are looking pretty good. I'll just tuck this back in as we did on the other side. Let that bend up along the upper edge of the wing. And then we just want to check that our wings look symmetrical. And that's pretty good right there. All right, last step here is to tuck our nose lock in. So we take these layers that we put up along the body. Now they're just going to go inside. So we just tuck them in like so. And on the other side. And now, like I said before, we've got that nice streamlined nose lock that gives you a place to grab onto the airplane as well. Now, these wings, we'll open them up. They should have a little bit of dihedral right next to the body of the airplane. And then they're going to flare out and be roughly horizontal for the remainder of that wing. So you can get something that looks like that. The big challenge here is just making sure that each half of your wing is as symmetrical as you can. And again, the shape of this opening determines how it flies. If it's open further, it's going to fly slower but more stable. If it's closed down a little bit, it could roll, but it will be a little bit quicker. If you've done it right, it should sit pretty much level on a table. This edge is going to go straight up and down. That is the F-11f BlackWave. So thanks for folding it with me. Good luck adjusting these. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions for this airplane as well as to how to make it a little bit better. I know we have some very talented flying wing designers who watch this channel. So I'm interested to hear what you think about this one. And as always, enjoy flying it.